Willkommen, bienvenue, and welcome. I am just another Pokedad, and if you know where I stole my intro from, you're my kind of geek, and I say geek lovingly. Today I am going to do a profile on an upcoming a deck I'm working on, and it's a post-rotation deck, as well as got some Celestial Storm in there. So it's an eye on what I think might be happening after Worlds, but I also think a version of this deck may very well be what wins Worlds. Not this list, obviously, but something along these lines I think has a really strong chance. So it's obviously we're going to build a Zoroark-gx deck. And we've got some Celestial Storm in here to really change how Zoroark is going to be played. And I know you've already seen this kind of deck elsewhere. I've got a few minor tweaks, so I'm just going to run the list for you. So we're running 4 copies of Zoro, and I'm sorry I don't have a tripod today, so I am going handheld, so I apologize. 4 copies of Zorua, and then 4 copies of Zoroark-gx. Now, Zoroark-gx is a strong attacker for a double colorless energy, 20 times the amount of Pokemon you have in play. So if you have a full bench, that's 120 damage. That's okay. You're going to 2-shot most everything at that point. Trade ability, once during your turn, before your attack, you discard a card from your hand and draw 2 cards. That's the bad boy right there. You got 210 HP. You are resistant to Psychic. You are weak to Fighting, which is a pain because of Buzzwole. Trickster GX is okay. Choose one of your opponent's Pokemon's attacks. Use it as this attack. You're not going to use that much, but there is a way to use it in this deck. So we're running 4 copies of Zoroark. He is your main attacker in this deck. Okay. We are running a copy of the Resource Manager Rangaroo to put 3 cards from your discard pile on the bottom of your deck in any order. This is really a great utility in this deck. And then here's upcoming from Celestial Storm, Slugma, who we're running 2 copies, will evolve into Macargo. And the reason we're running this is for the ability Smooth Over. And what Smooth Over does is allows you to search your deck for any card and put it on top of your deck. So you do that, you grab whatever you want, put it on top of your deck, you shuffle your deck, then put it on top. So it's like a mallow for 1 card. And then you trade into that card. So you get whatever you want every turn. Every turn. Crazy. Okay, so then here's where I'm running a little different than other people. Railu, 2 copies of Railu to evolve into Lucario, which we're running 1 copy of Lucario. Lucario has a great first attack for 1 fighting energy, 30 plus 90 if you evolved that turn. He has 210. He's weak to Psychic, which is a little bit of an issue, but it's a 1-shot knockout for 1 energy on Zoroark. And Zoroark's not going anywhere. So this is what I've chosen as my kind of tech in this deck to help against the Zoroark matchup. Then we're running 2 Tapu Leles for Wonder Tag. Search your deck for a supporter. If you don't have Tapu Leles, just wait a little while. They're coming out in a they're doing a reprint in a GX box, so you're going to be able to pick these up, and everybody will be able to play Tapu Lele, and I think that's a great thing for the game. It's a staple in almost every deck, and to have access to it is really great. Okay, so for items, we're running 4 Ultra Balls. We are running 2 Timer Balls. I'm not crazy about coin flip cards, but I do like you can grab 2 evolutions if you hit both of them. All right, so we're running a little control in this deck. 2 enhanced hammers. Post-rotation, I think these are, really there for the counter energies. Beast energy, you're not going to have strong energy to worry about. So, but beast energy, counter energy, those kind of DCEs, you're going to run 2 of these to take care of that. We are also running 2 copies of Crushing Hammer. Again, I'm not crazy about coin flip cards, but to get rid of basic energy, that's how you do it. All right, we are running 2 copies of Max Potion in order to aid our healing. Yeah, you have to get rid of energy to do it, and in this deck, it's a little bit of a problem, but that's why we have a Rangaroo for resource management. We're running 1 copy of Field Blower. Only 1, because after rotation, we're not worried about Garbotoxin, and that's the main thing you really have to Field Blower in this deck. Would have been Float Stones or whatever to aid in keeping you out of ability lock. So now we have to switch over, because ability lock comes from Glaceon-gx, really. So we are running a Field Blower to help us out with a few things. We're running 1 copy of Rescue Stretcher, and we're running 1 switch. Because we're running low counts of energy, 1 switch in this deck can really help if you get stranded. We're not running, again, because it's post-rotation, no Float Stone, so we have to get ways to get out of the active. Escape Rope is another one of those ways. And then we've got 1 copy of Counter Catcher. This wins you games when it matters. So one of the most important things, and the beauty is you macargo for it, you win the game, or whatever. I mean, but Counter Catcher is such an important card when you're behind. I love it. We're running 1 Choice Band, and the only reason we're running 1 is because nothing we have is really hitting the numbers anyway. So you're going from 120 to 150 with this. The only reason we want to do that is for the 240s and 250s that maybe we're not going to hit even on a 250 or so, or, you run up against someone playing some healing and you need those extra numbers. It's there just in case you have to do that. So you can stay in a 2-shot range instead of being out of it. We're running 1 copy of Weakness Policy. Will help you against your Buzz matchup, or you throw it on your Lucario, and if you're playing Psychic. You only really need 1 because, again, resource management. If you need to, you can get it back, but it's there. And because we're playing macargo, playing 1 is fine. You get it if you need it. Otherwise, it's trade fodder. Into supporters, we're running 1 copy of Pokemon Fan Club to search your, people are going to run this as the Bridget substitute when Bridget's gone. It's not, to me, the same type of substitute. Yes, you get 2 basic Pokemon, but what I like more about this is they go to your hand instead of to your bench directly, so you can grab a Lele with it. This is it's not as great as Bridget, but it's a good substitute to help you out. But the nice thing is it's more useful than Bridget in a late game situation than Bridget is. So we're running a couple copies of Cynthia just to help roll through the hand. You're going to use these early on before you get set up with Zoroarks. We're not running a ton of draw support because, in theory, this deck is all about self-draw support. We are running 2 Mallows, so even though you've got macargo for a single Mallow effect, we've got 2, because if you're playing multiple Zoroarks, you can get a bunch of what you want in 1 turn. So, I think it's a great card pairing with Zoroark. We're going to play 2 copies of Judge, which each player shuffle their deck into their hand and draw 4 cards. Not as good as a late game N, but can be. I actually like once you set up Zoroark, to start hurting your opponent by getting them down to 4 cards. You can draw back up, not a problem. Out of Celestial Storm, we're running 1 copy of Tate and Liza. I like this card because it's got a 2-for effect, or 2 choices. You have to select. The first one is shuffle your hand into your deck and draw 5 cards. So a little draw support there, not bad. The second one is switch your active with one of your bench Pokemon. So the fact that you have the options on that, I think, is worth a look at. Then we are running 3 copies of Acerola. Acerola helps get wounded things back to your hand. So it really helps just deny prizes to your opponent. And in this deck, because you're having to 2-shot things, you're usually, if you're not getting knocked out, you're taking damage. So Acerola helps deny the prize trade. We're running 3 copies of Guzma. And really 3 or 4 is what you want in this deck. I'm running 3 right now. 4 might come in at a later point. I just think Guzma is key in this deck because you got to really pick your knockouts. You're playing up against a Malamar deck. You want to cripple it by taking out the Malamars instead. Obviously Ultra Necrozma or Dawnwing's Necrozma weak to Dark, but if they're not playing that, then you got to take out their legs, and you got to know your matchups and take out the legs. So 3 Guzmas, could be 4, I'm not sure. 1 copy of Plumeria, just again to help aid in energy and denial in this deck. Then our energy, we're running 4 copies of Double Colorless, and then 4 copies of the weird unit energy with fighting and dark. The nice thing is you got fighting to help Lucario, and also dark helps if you need to use the Zoroark-gx move, which often you're not going to do. Lucario's GX is much better. You can take out just about anything with it once there's damage on Lucario, and just for 1 more energy, that's all there is to it. So that's the deck. I'm just starting to work on it, so I'm sure there are going to be things, texts that need to happen, other different things. I'm interested to hear your comments. And I also, just as a side note, I'm going to be giving away, we've got some code cards here. There are some Guardians Rising code cards. And then I've also got a, what have we got? We've got Guardians Rising, 5 Guardians Rising. Sorry, I'm not showing you, trying not to. All right, so we've got 5 Guardians Rising code cards, and these 2 are a Zygarde GX box and an Ultra Prism Elite Trainer box. So I'm going to give these away. If you are a subscriber to the channel, like this video, leave me a comment. I would love to hear your thoughts on how we roll this deck. I have not got to play it yet, but I think it's going to be fairly strong. I really do. And I apologize for, I'm on my phone, so work things are popping up here. So I apologize for that. Like, comment, subscribe. We're going to give away all these code cards in our next video. And I wish everybody the best of luck. And I thank you very much for watching. I am just another Pokedad. And remember to be happy, be safe, and be kind. We'll see you next time.